What would you say about this set?
It's a set.
Okay, what's it called?
It is the Recruit Edition 40k 9th edition set.
Is it for people who know what they're doing, or?
Well, it's for anyone really.
Okay.
It's got all the basic rules you need to start a game.
Such as what? Can you demonstrate?
Well, you have some range rulers, obviously in inches, because everything's measured in inches, stupidly. 10 6-sided dice. Yes, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
We lost one already.
Don't worry, I have others.
That's 10.
Oh.
That is
Never
10.
mind, I'm just rubbish at counting. And a mat. Which is a mat, not a map, but just as hard to fold.
I can't see that at all. Okay. Action.
What do I do?
Show us the manual. Do you want to come around here?
Yes, the manual. One of the more important parts, I think. So, the Recruit manual, oversized dice, on the way, shows you, well, stuff. So there's the opening. It's got a content, like most books, an introduction to the hobby, a very nice picture there with lots of different Chaos and Imperium stuff. Tells you lots of different stuff about collecting, different ways to collect and play. It shows you how to play, in fact. It shows you the different ways to play. Gives you a bit of background info, if I could just skip to the part that I want to talk about. It's got a map of the Imperium, not sure why, more background info, more, and here is where these are some of the models that you get, and here it shows you how to build your models, including the Sergeant of the Assault Intercessors and the rest of the squad of 10 warriors and 3 Cannot Tech Scarabs, as well as running you through a few missions. Mission 1, Mission 2, I could go on. Oh, and here it shows you how to assemble one of the characters.
Where are the missions?
I've just gone through the missions.
Okay. And
here are just some more pictures of Roboute Gilman fighting Mortarion. Not sure why. Some Necrons. And next steps mission, whatever that is. And the next steps themselves. And some information of some other units that you probably might like. And it's got a nice, whatever the front is called.
Front cover?
Front cover, yes.
Okay. Action.
So, now that I've run you through the book, I'll move it to one side so the screen doesn't look weird and off-centered. Dice on the other side. It's time for the stats and transfer sheet that you actually get with this set, because otherwise you would not know how to play with the models. Runs you through the stats. On the back are some nice pictures. Oh, that's very nice. Well done, Dragon. More pictures, more stats of the Royal Warden, Necron Warrior, Cannot Tech Scarab. Don't think I missed them out.
Point it lower next time.
The Assault Intercessor Squad, including Sergeant stats and the Primaris Lieutenant. And you get an Ultramarines transfer sheet, which is not very useful if you're not going to paint them as Ultramarines, but it assumes you'll paint them as Ultramarines.
Okay. Shall we have a look at the figures?
Oh, yes.
Go ahead. Go on.
Why did you say hold on?
Because for that bit I stopped recording. So there's a break in continuity, it's called, where what you see is suddenly something's moved. I'm recording now. We're recording dead air.
Oh, sorry for recording dead air.
It's alright, we'll edit it out.
So, in this set, I have painted them up as Ultra Swans.
Do it on camera.
And I have bothered to name them, unlike most people, I'd assume. So, his arm falls off. It is push fit, so you do have to deal with occasional arms falling off. It's not much of a problem though. So you get a 5-man squad of assault intercessors, including a sergeant, who I named Damocles. If you're wondering why I painted him up with a red and white stripe thing on his head, just I wanted to, basically. You also get a Primaris Lieutenant, who has a very fancy shield, which I spent quite a long time painting. He's very fancy all round, because he's a character, and all characters are fancy. Those are the Space Marines you get. The Necrons you get are 3 Canoptech Scarab Swarms, which are very fast, but very easily destroyed in the game. And these utterly infuriating to put together Royal Warden and Necron Warriors.
Do you remember why they're infuriating?
It's because, if you look at those arms, they've got little ball sockets in them, which means you have to make sure it stays in on both sides as you put the chest in, which tends to knock out the arms. So it's
worse than that, I'm afraid.
They're also push fit, and they look so identical, but they're not actually interchangeable.
Yeah, they look like they are totally interchangeable. They are not.
So
every single arm only has one arm socket it can fit in.
So whatever you do when building these, do not cut them all out of the screws and cobble them together later, because you will spend hours trying to match them together. It's horrendous.
Still get it wrong and need a bit of super glue.
Yes, it's awful. But apart from being very hard to put together, they are extremely well detailed and a good selection of useful units that you will quite likely want to use in the game.
Right. Is that everything in the game?
In the box, I believe so, yes.
There's one thing we haven't talked about, which is the mat, and it's probably best if you see that in action. The mat and the terrain, I should say.
Oh, yes. If you look, this, as well as being a form of storage, is also terrain.
So this
is an Archaeo Vault, and very nice terrain.
Although it is only cardboard.
Yes, so whatever you do, do not sit on it. It will collapse.
Okay. Some of the cardboard
rips
easily and cannot be expected to be perfect. But if you take care of the middle bit by sliding it in, then you should find that you can keep it quite well.
And there's some little information on the box about the Warhammer universe in general and what comes in the box. which is a 64-page recruit manual, an arcane vault terrain piece, 2 reference sheets, a playmat, 10 six-sided dice, 2 range rulers, a space marine transfer sheet, a Primaris lieutenant, 5 assault intercessors, including assault intercessor sergeant, a royal warden, 10 Necron warriors, and 3 Chaotech scarab swarms. That was a mouthful.
Right.
Good set. Overall, I quite like it.
In a sec, we're going to show how this works in a game. But for now, there's one final bit about the terrain you need to be aware of. They've got a lovely picture on the back of the box of how the terrain is used. It's slightly better than it looks, because although it looks very cool, as you can see, it comes red or black. You can have dusty, kind of charred terrain or Martian terrain, but it is fold out paper that's been printed on.
And it's even worse than maps when you try to fold it up.
Yeah. It's always folded by the same person in this house, because that way we know that the creases aren't going to get any worse. Right. That is the Warhammer 40,000 Recruit Edition starter set.
Very good set. Lots of interesting stuff. I wish it told you the points costs of the units in the game, but it didn't.
It's got something where it says power. You worked out what that is yet?
I think it's the limit to the raw fighting capability you can have in an army. You can only have 100 power, so you can't have 100 guys with melter guns because it's too much power. Not sure why, and I'm not sure why they included power but not points.
Yeah.
So it could be better, but it's already good, so I'm not going to ask for perfection.
Next, we'll look at the game itself, how it's played, and objectives in particular, and compare that to basically killing everything.
Which are the missions included in the set.
Yeah. Right. Anything else to say on it?
Except
Any
for,
surprises?
well,
I have to say the figures
are excellent.
Yeah. So,
I would like to mention that on the Royal Warden's KP fit, do not try to pressure it hard. It is rather delicate, so it will probably not fit seamlessly together. And if it doesn't, do not try to push it into place. It might well break.
That looks pretty close.
Yeah.
Did it break?
No.
Lucky. The same with push fit. Push fit is so that you don't need glue.
Glue it anyway.
You need glue. It really helps. Just if you try and go without, arms will flop off at the worst possible point. You'll make some kind of heroic attack, at which point somebody will drop their head off.
It's better with Space Marines because they are very chunky and their chunkiness pushes against each other, so they're all just locked in place. But on the Necrons, this...
And just to remind you, if you are making these from the box set, follow the instructions one by one when you piece them together. Otherwise the heads won't fit the head sockets and the arms won't fit the arm sockets. Also,
all of the paints used in this, I believe, came from the Necrons paint set, which I also got.
Good paint set for this kind of stuff?
Yeah. The Assault Intercessor paint set for the Space Marines is also quite good. I haven't got it myself, but I've seen it on the web store. It's a good variety of useful paints.
Did you, on here, we've used a few others. I think we've used a gold that's from a different paint set.
Yeah.
Any other colours used from different paint sets?
I used a red, a white and a blue. I did use a gold, and I did use a homemade black wash using Abaddon Black and a lot of water.
Okay. So even with the starter set and even with the Recruit Edition, you can expect to go and buy a few extra bits to make it the way you'd like it.
Oh, and if you are going to go get the paint set, be warned, you get 3 Necron warriors with it, which is very annoying because Necron squad sizes work in 10s to 20, so having a random 3 is not very useful because you can't fit it in very easily to any game. Although it's nice to have.
Right. So that's our roundup of the Warhammer 40,000 Recruit Edition starter set. Good box, a little bit expensive, lots of cardboard, hugely detailed figures. You'll want paints, you'll want glue.